taking action for you.
What's happening in entertainment? From Tinseltown to the Big Apple, this is your weekly entertainment magazine with Greg Dunmore of PulseBeat.tv.
Pulse of a new generation, PulseBeat.tv.
Welcome to another edition of PulseBeat with Greg Dunmore. Utah is a state that many of us never think about. I'm one that I hardly can tell you any city in Utah other than Salt Lake City, its capital. But when I think of Utah as someone that covers arts, entertainment, and culture, I do think of such iconic films that took place in Utah.
Gunsmoke.
The television show Gunsmoke, films like Thelma and Louise.
How come Dara let you go?
Because I didn't ask him.
He's gonna kill you!
I left him a note.
Thelma and Louise are going to catch hell.
I'll have a wild turkey straight up and a Coke back, please.
Thelma!
Oh, what? Tell me something. Is this my vacation or isn't it?
Forrest Gump.
Hello, my name's Forrest Gump. Would you like a chocolate?
Oh, thank you.
And I think of the Sundance Film Festival.
While the future of Sundance may not always lie in Utah, this weekend the crowds and movies are all here.
Which, sadly, its founder, the iconic movie star Robert Redford, has recently passed. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
You just keep thinking, that's what you're good at.
An incredible pair of rugged adventurers, creating a living legend on two continents.
But it's just one guy.
And I think of a man that I was just recently introduced to, and many of us perhaps did not know his influence, and that would be the political conservative, the founder of Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk. So I did a little research to find out more about this man that I did not know about until he was murdered just a few days ago.
A minute later at 12:23 p.m., Kirk began answering a question about gun violence.
Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
The suspect taking that single shot and then dropping off the roof.
At age 31, Charlie James Kirk, who was murdered on September 10th, 2025, was one of the most influential and controversial voices in American conservative politics. As a co-founder and executive director of Turning Point USA, which is a think tank that influences young people to be more active in this movement called conservatism. Kirk became a national figure, speaking to packed auditoriums, debating on college campuses, and hosting the Charlie Kirk Show, which was a podcast that had a platform that reached millions. Born and raised in Chicago suburbs, he left college after just one semester to chase a bigger dream, political activism with a very conservative right-wing perspective.
Okay, so it's a fertilized embryo.
Correct, which is not a baby.
So at what point does it become a baby?
When it is born.
Oh.
He built a huge, devoted, worldwide
Are
following.
you trying to say that blacks thrive under subjugation?
No, I'm not. I'm saying I'm asking you the question. The data shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad, it was evil, but what happened? Something changed. They committed less crimes.
Maybe they were afraid.
From his now famous Prove Me Wrong table debates that he took on tour to touch the hearts and soul and intellect of many young people, launching a nationwide rally that really was built on this movement that was aimed at shaping the next generation of conservatives.
All right, next question. All right, so I would like to ask you about for abortions, right? How do we explain to those who are for it, how do we explain that even, I don't know if you believe this, Rob, but in terms of like a rape or unintentional or really unconsented pregnancies, can we say that we should still be anti-abortion in that scenario?
Yes.
What's your grounds for that? And how would I explain it to someone else?
Sure, it's a good question. Let's say I have 2 ultrasounds here. One is an ultrasound of a baby from a loving marriage. The other one is a baby conceived in rape. Which one is which?
We can't exactly tell.
So they're both human beings, right? They both deserve human rights.
Okay. But then what is if someone pushes back against with the idea? What is if someone pushes back with the idea that now, in terms of the mother, right? One of them was willingly conceived while the other one was a forced conceived.
Yeah, but that's a fair argument. The question then should be, when, if ever, in your moral universe, is it okay to do something evil after an evil act to try to make that evil act correct?
But how about in terms of, what if we're in the position of the mother, and she is, I don't want to take the risk of illness, death, or whatever to have this child.
Sure, so it's a little bit of a false choice, because they're acting as if the termination of the pregnancy will have no consequences or costs. A lot of women that get abortions have regret. Women die when they get abortions. They have a lot of their health issues. It's not just like getting a haircut. So it's a little bit of a false choice. But we come after it from a very basic moral argument. There are 2 lives involved. There's a little life and a grown life. And no one has the right to eliminate a human life in utero, period.
So then, at that point, now we're forcing someone to do something that they never consented to, never wanted to do. How isn't this violating their human autonomy?
Like, you want to go thought crime? Like, I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, that's the you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done that before.
That's not who I am. That's not what I believe.
It is the reality the left has created.
Because of DEI, it begs the question: when you see a black pilot, you wonder. You say, "I hope they are qualified." I wouldn't think that if the CEO of United or these airlines would reject DEI and say excellence is the ultimate standard. Is if I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman, I wonder, is she there because of her excellence, or is she there because of affirmative action? It almost creates thought patterns that are not necessarily wholesome. It creates resentment, doesn't it, Heather? No one really cares when it's HR managers. No one cared when it was, just kind of paper shufflers or even engineers. But now when it's like, wait, hold on a second. You're going to remove my appendix and you're a black lesbian?
Why?
So it like hurts my heart, because doing what I love has been kind of taken away from me to please other people. Yeah, that's the point, Simone Biles. You're representing your nation, you're selfish sociopath. You kidding me? We are raising a generation of weak people like Simone Biles. Again, if you want to be, if she got all these mental health problems, don't show up. She's an incredible athlete. Of course she's an incredible athlete. I'm not saying, I just said she's probably the greatest gymnast of all time. She's also very selfish, she's immature, and she is a shame to the country. She's totally a sociopath. Of course she's a sociopath. Andrew said she's not a sociopath. What kind of person skips the gold medal match? Who does that? It's a shame to the nation.
LeBron James is a self-interested, narcissistic, and we know he's not very smart. He does these press conferences where he thinks he's making sense spiritually and freedom of speech. But he's a product of his time. What would you expect from LeBron James? It's cool to insult America. It's cool to sell yourself out to China. Not very bright, not wise, not somebody of good character, but is a blowhard. He'll never have to apologize. He'll never have to admit failure. And of course, everyone knows that LeBron James chronically cheats on his wife. Obviously, he's an NBA player. Savannah James should be asked by that. Hey, how do you feel about your husband cheating on you all the time? But that's just how the NBA works. The whole thing is an open marriage. He's immoral in almost everything he does. He shouldn't be lifted up, but I don't think most Americans do. He would obviously stand for the China national anthem, and he can't even show a modicum of respect for the country that has given him everything.
You're watching PulseBeat with Greg Dunmore, and we'll be right back.
PulseBeat.
This important national healthcare update is brought to you by the Hearing Helpline. Now you can make a free phone call and save big over what you'd pay at a doctor's office for hearing aids. Plus, this offer comes with a 1-year warranty, and if you call in the next 10 minutes, shipping is 100% free. We have a nationally known hearing aid that has improved the hearing of thousands of happy customers, and you'll pay a fraction of retail hearing aids prices. These outstanding hearing aids are nearly invisible. You can even use them to answer your cell phone, and they come with a 45-day money-back guarantee. You have nothing to lose and better hearing to gain. Make a free phone call and save big over what you'd pay at a doctor's office for hearing aids. I urge you to improve your hearing for you and your loved ones and call the Hearing Helpline now.
Call 866-883-3689. That's 866-883-3689.
All aboard!
There's a new way to travel, and it's one of the oldest forms of transportation. Travel by train. Yes, consider traveling around the United States on Amtrak. Traveling by train is a lot less of a headache than taking a plane, and you'd be surprised how many places you can go on an Amtrak. And there's no passports or IDs needed. Find out how to get where you're going as soon as tomorrow by train. Call the Amtrak Travel Hotline right now. We'll book your trip and email your tickets within minutes. Skip the drive to the airport and skip the lines. Call right now to book your Amtrak reservations. We service most of the United States. Do something new. Travel by Amtrak today. Find out how to get where you're going as soon as tomorrow by train. Call the Amtrak Travel Hotline right now.
Call 855-827-5004. That's 855-827-5004. Again, 855-827-5004.
Pulse Beat.
I don't know if you guys know this, but you here are at a crime scene. You know this? This is where they counted the ballots in 2020.
Now, objectively, who was Charlie Kirk? A name, as I said before, that I had not heard of, and I'm sure that many of you would agree that he's a name that was not on your radar. So we decided that we would delve a little deeper, and we have found some very interesting insights coming from celebrated people and from some people that you may not know who they are, but they have said things that we feel that by watching and listening, it will give you additional insight on a man that is now capturing the world, a man known by the name Charlie Kirk.
I saw the right-wing intelligentsia saying, no, Charlie, it's a career ender. You don't do this. You just say MLK was awesome, and you don't ask questions, and you just kind of walk away. I said, you know what, I'm not going to do that anymore. I think that kind of attitude is destructive and wrong, and we felt the pressure that day. We were getting text messages of people saying, Charlie, this is going to end your career. Charlie, you'll never be back in decent circles. And I said, you know what, honestly, I don't subscribe to that. I'm going to trust the Lord. I know what we're saying is true. I was disappointed because I said, listen, guys, you could hate what I'm doing. You could criticize it. But if you're just going to throw the R word around like a Frisbee because I dare to question somebody who I consider to be a false idol of the modern cult of anti-racism.
Whitlock nodding along with approval is all the proof you need to know that Kirk is hitting all of the right-wing talking points. Characterizing his racist opinions of MLK as valid criticism allows Kirk to use free speech as a crutch to shield him from criticism of what he and Whitlock are trying to do here, whitewashing both the continuing and historical racially motivated crimes that our country was founded on, while demonizing anyone who wanted to correct the historical wrongs.
The thought, of course, is there's only one person in the 20th century that gets a federal holiday, and it's Martin Luther King. I can name at least a dozen people more deserving in the 20th century of a federal holiday than MLK. There are much better figures, such as Billy Graham in the 1960s, who had a lot more to do with the passage of the Civil Rights Act, who gets no credit than Martin Luther King. People forget Billy Graham had White House Oval Office meetings. Billy Graham led the Crusades for a moral awakening. What I'm trying to counter is the reason we talk about race so much is because we have a federal holiday to a guy that talked about race all the time. We celebrate the Civil Rights Act more than the American founding.
Kirk rehashing this old played out argument is just another sad attempt to tell people to shut up about conversations about racism and race in America. Because to Kirk and other conservatives, racism can't exist if you don't talk about it.
The multi-decade incubator of DEI
was housed in the Department of Justice post the Civil Rights Act. The attitude, the enforcement, the precision that the DEI bureaucrats operate with was all workshopped in the Department of Justice in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And just now are we seeing it in corporate America, and we've seen this cancer metastasize. What started as a good intention to try to eradicate the injustices of saying that, you know, only whites can eat at the restaurant has tragically metamorphosized into a beast that has even more hatred than some of the elements of the antebellum South.
You heard that right. Charlie Kirk thinks that the Civil Rights Act and its legacy have brought about more hate than the antebellum South. This is what real-world white supremacy looks and sounds like. And as much as we'd like to ignore the Jason Whitlocks and the Charlie Kirks of the world, this rhetoric simply cannot go unchecked.
Charlie Kirk, who got shot in Utah. Him getting shot in Utah makes him, I believe, American number 18,533 who got shot in the U.S. this year, shot and killed. And I think that there were 3 more people who were killed, shot and killed in Colorado, just over the mountains, within hours of his shooting. And all the flags in America are going to fly half-mast, not for those 18,335 other victims, but they're going to fly half-mast for Charlie Kirk. That's just an observation. You can do with it what you will. I'll be honest, when I first heard that he had been shot, I made a joke about it on X. Because frankly, I'm just as used to theatrics coming out of America as I am used to gun violence coming out of America. And I thought that theatrics seemed more likely in this case. But when I did learn that he died, I deleted my post. I deleted it out of respect, not for him, but for the severity and for the solemnity of the judgment that he has now proceeded to. Because everything that he ever said and everything that he ever did that harmed anyone, well, he's going to answer for that. He's going to answer for that right now in his meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the heaviness of that meeting is disturbing to any of us who believe in it. But we'll talk about it. Let's start with the obvious, okay? First, I'm not going to feign grief or feign mourning for this person. I know that's a hypocrisy that social etiquette demands at a moment like this. But we all know that he would certainly not grieve for us. He certainly would not mourn for us. Just as he never grieved and he never mourned for the wanton slaughter of the Palestinians in Gaza. He never grieved for that. And for myself personally, as a Muslim and as a critic of Western so-called civilization, I know that Charlie Kirk himself would most likely have officially anyway considered me to be his enemy. And as far as I'm concerned, any man whose enemy mourns him when he dies, well, he wasn't doing his job. And I don't think it can be said about Charlie Kirk that he didn't do his job, which is to say that he never did anything and he never said anything in his public life that would make me mourn his passing, just as I hope that I will never say or do anything in my public life that would make my enemies grieve for my passing. They should be happy when I die. Enemies are disturbed by each other's presence, not by each other's absence. But let me also be crystal clear about this. It doesn't make me happy either. I neither mourn nor celebrate. Neither of those reactions is appropriate, in my opinion. Whoever pulled that trigger didn't do it for me and they didn't do it for you. I don't even see them as being on two different sides. They didn't silence Charlie Kirk. They amplified Charlie Kirk. The power structure never cared about that boy. They used him. And he's more useful to them now than he was the day before. He's more useful to them dead than he was alive. Listen, you don't defeat someone like this, someone like a Charlie Kirk, a tool like him, by letting that tool mold you into exactly what they want you to be. That killer didn't deliver justice. If you think they did, he didn't. He delivered to the power structure an even more enhanced weapon. He made a mediocre, but dangerous and polarizing figure, Charlie Kirk, into now an impeachable icon for the very fan base that he most likely despises. And he made criticism of Charlie Kirk's ideas. Now it's disrespect for the dead. This is not resistance. This is a gift. This is a gift to the very security state that he probably thought he was attacking. No, it's stupidity.
Addiction is an epidemic. Millions are struggling and over 100 lives are lost each day. Are you next? At Better Addiction Care, we understand the devastating impact of drug and alcohol addiction. Our network of treatment centers are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's time to fix the pieces addiction has destroyed. Our network of treatment centers offer detox, therapy, counseling, private luxurious centers, physical fitness, chef-prepared meals, aftercare, and your insurance may cover up to 100% of costs. Only you can put an end to your addiction. It's time to make the life-changing call and get the help you need. Call now, and in just minutes, you could be on your way to a drug and alcohol-free life. The call is free and confidential, and there is no obligation. Visit betteraddictioncare.com or call
855-246-6872. That's 855-246-6872.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available.
Huh, why would anybody do that?
If you're paying high interest rates on your credit cards, you're burning money. We're Consolidated Credit, and we've been helping Americans for over 30 years. Let us work with your creditors to reduce your total payments by up to 50%. Lower your high interest rate credit cards and stop juggling multiple payments. We help you pay down your debt faster than you can on your own, all while saving you thousands in interest charges. Consolidate your credit card bills into one affordable payment today. You don't have to be good with money, because we are. Call 855-562-4039 for a free consultation. 855-562-4039. Call Consolidated Credit today. That's 855-562-4039.
PULSEBEAT.
We cover arts, entertainment, and culture, and it's important to know that arts and entertainment and culture, it defines the way that we think in ways that can be very subtle. And there's a musical, an Academy Award-winning, Tony Award-winning musical by the name of Cabaret. It was a musical that touched the hearts of many people throughout the decades. And there's a song, Tomorrow Belongs to Me, which we felt that you had to take a listen to because it speaks a powerful truth. It is haunting, it's alarming, and it is a reminder that common people can be affected by an influence that is rooted in evil. Take a look, and hopefully lessons will be learned.
To Africa.
The sun on the meadow is summery one. The stag in the forest runs free. But gather together to greet the storm. Tomorrow belongs to me. The branch of the linden is leafy and green. The Rhine gives its gold to the sea. But somewhere a glory awaits unseen. Tomorrow belongs to me. The babe in his cradle is closing his eyes. The blossom embraces the bee. But soon says a whisper, arise, arise, tomorrow control them?
We are living in a very trying age where the press is being questioned and the freedom of speech is being questioned in ways that are very alarming and problematic. In covering arts and entertainment, there was a voice that was so passionate about speaking truth to power, knowing that knowledge is power and that you have to be fearless when you know what you're communicating is rooted in a truth that is divine, that is from the heart, soul, spirit, and intellect. And the high priestess of soul, Nina Simone, was fearless in knowing that I will speak truth to power. She understood that her voice as an artist would resonate well beyond just her ability to make a person snap their fingers and dance. Heed the messages that artists have the ability to speak when they understand truth to power, and knowing that silence is not golden and there's an obligation to communicate to their listeners and making a difference. Understanding in today's society, although things are not what they used to be, but the struggle still continues.
An artist's duty, as far as I'm concerned, is to reflect the times. I think that is true of painters, sculptors, poets, musicians. As far as I'm concerned, it's their choice. But I choose to reflect the times and the situations in which I find myself. That to me is my duty. And at this crucial time in our lives, when everything is so desperate, when every day is a matter of survival, I don't think you can help but be involved. Young people, black and white, know this. That's why they're so involved in politics. We will shape and mold this country, or it will not be molded and shaped at all anymore. So I don't think you have a choice. How can you be an artist and not reflect the times? That to me is the definition of an artist.
Arts and culture is a brilliant way to communicate concerns that we know we have to address and that we cannot afford to be silent. Until the next go round, thanks for watching.
I'm just a soul whose intentions are good. Oh Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood.
PULSEBEAT.